Welcome back to another Play and Explain. In this video, playing 6 tables of 500. Oh, I'll set the 1K right here. Gonna go with the purple. I'll be sure to leave a table, but for now with you guys, let's do this. There's a lot going on at the start of this video. I'll be sure to leave a couple. Be sure to leave this table next. This is how I'd be playing when I'm not recording. It's a lot easier to focus. I think the game kind of runs around this guy, so if this guy breaks, we'll leave. Just because I don't want to play heads up. So, we do have a 1K going. Right now, 6 tables of 500. I'm leaving this one. Oh, I can leave it now. If you're curious about the HUD software I use, which is the RNG and the tables, link in the description below. Free for micro stakes players if you want to get started like using easy to use random number generator and organizing your tables if you ever play on multiple sites. These videos are all on GG, so you could use this to organize your tables, but if you play on different sites, it's a lot easier if you use something like this. On this board, I think you actually do want to build a check range. He's going to have more 5x than you, and a lot of your hands actually miss this board, so just betting all of them seems kind of dumb. Even though people like to use ace-x boards, it's usually not the best. For example, a jack-high board, as long as if you have a lot of king-high, queen-high, and ace-high hands, they're going to have a good amount of equity versus even a large portion of this calling range, where here, if we bet, almost all our hands are drawing dead versus an ace, so it just doesn't make sense to be donating all the money there. Not to mention he has a 5's advantage as well. And here the spot's closed. It's really wide range. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to fold here. The thing is, I just don't think people will bluff. I think my hand's supposed to call in theory, because the good news about the jack is the jack kind of unblocks a lot of bluffs. Because the jack does play. I'm going to call. Yeah, this guy's a huge nit. Or people say he's not, but from my experience, I think he thinks I'm a station or something. You can just flip it the other way around if you don't want it to sound like I'm making fun of the guy. I don't know. And even though I think he's a nit, he stacked me like 4 times today from me like hero calling him, so it doesn't really matter. Because I know people be like, he's not a nit, he just exploits you because you call too much. Fair enough. Either way, doesn't really have bluffs versus me, is the point I'm trying to make. On this spot, yeah, I think Jack 7's too weak. Sorry about the lag, if it ever lags. So yeah, almost all these games are, if you ever see someone tagged blue, that's a fish. Almost everyone else is a reg. So we are in a reg-ass field right now. Gonna be going to 26 here. Usually a good rule is in position 2x plus 2. I don't know why, it's just a pretty good rule. In the spot in your pool, you're gonna have to look at your opponent. If it's a fishier player, most fish do not 3-bet bluff from the big blind. So you don't need the 4-bet bluffs. I would say good 4-bet bluff candidates: ace-jack offsuit, queen-9 suited, and 10-8 suited. If you're trying to just find random king-queen off, there you could just use those 4 if you guys are trying to simplify your pre-flop. There's obviously other hands you have to get in there, but I'm talking about the bluffs. I mean, you need more bluffs than that to have enough coverage. Yeah. But if you want to simplify your strategy in a simpler pool, those 4 hands. Ace-8 suited as well. All pretty good. The issue with ace-5 is ace-5 is kind of like a little better than ace-8 in that sense. I mean, ace-5 is obviously in there, but yeah. Depends on your opponent. If he's nitty, it's just not worth bluffing, and then if he's like spazzy, you might want to just call those decent hands too. So I would say that most regs are not balanced enough to warrant. I would say usually when you're attacking people who are 3-betting out of the blinds, you should be making exploits in your guys' pool. That's what I advise for. But if you don't know what to do, just learn what the GTO pre-flop strategy is. Though most people are misplaying from the big blind drastically, so Should learn what it is and why, and then deviate accordingly. For these videos, I keep it simple. Oh, this guy's so funny, man. I mean, the thing is, for me, I just played my big and my small, so I do think I could leave next blind here. Here, could lead sometimes, I think. I'm just gonna give up. Measuring the board, you probably have to continue a good amount. You can just continue equity, obviously, but... Jack of Diamonds doesn't really block too many folds, but let me look at the spot again, actually. The heart is probably bad, because he's gonna be floating these, like, 90 to hearts. Bullshit. This is, I think, a fold. See if we have any more games going. Maybe checking this flop at a high frequency. Damn, we had so many tables and now we have like 0. Oh, it's weightless, some of this shit. Oh, I'm gonna be checking turn again. It's just not a great card for me to continue betting on. We're gonna be checking range, so we are pretty uncapped. I'm not checking range, but we're gonna be checking at a high frequency. I'd rather simplify. What I'm trying to say is the checking range than to simplify the betting a lot. If that makes sense. Like if you're leaning one way or the other, just check, because it makes your turn strategy so much easier when it goes check check. If you know you have all the strong hands, you don't feel as gross bluffing. This hand's still gonna be preferred as a call. Ace 10. Oof. What would I bluff on the river here? Let's assume we have to build a betting range. You probably want... It's hard to have a high-low. I imagine an 8's pretty good. Because think about it, if you have a hand like King-Queen, he's going to be folding these like Queen-10, Queen-Jack. He's going to be folding King-8. He's going to be folding some of these one-pair, King-4 and stuff. He might hero call you, but... So if you have to build a betting range here, you have to build a bluff. So let's say you have a 7. You can't always check, right? Yeah, that's a good thing. Sometimes you just want to look at spots where, in that spot it's kind of confusing because you are going to have value, but it's not like a board where you're going to have a lot of value, so you can't have a lot of bluffs. So you're going to have to pick the good ones. I think ace jack's clearly just not that good. I think not having an ace is pretty solid though, because imagine, I don't even know if that's true. I think ace 3 can consider calling you and stuff. On this number, we will put this in our 3-bet folding range. At a frequency. You just need some of these hands like this from certain flops. I mean, if you're always going too polar and you don't have enough of this like king jack, king 8, like you're just missing all these king highs. Like if only your king highs are ace king, king queen suited and trash, then it's not that good for you. This is a great hand, but it's not that good of a board. We didn't roll that good of a number. You don't have 8's pure. It is a great hand to bet though, but I'm going to go for the check. I think I prefer check raising a hand like this. Could do either. On an 86, we'll go for the check raise. Nice. And here we're tossing. Could have considered betting flop. I didn't like the queen of clubs here. But it's probably not the most important thing. Just generally, if you're going to put money in the pot and not blocking hands that are potentially going to have good runouts, like queen jack of spades here would have had a great runout. Or even any queen 8 of spades. We don't even block that. This is going to be bottom of on a 71. It's going to be a mix. Could put it in the limping range as well. Going to be checking this board at a high frequency, so we'll check it here. The 6 is pretty good though. The issue with this hand is I don't think you want to... That makes it easy though. Also, if you know your versus aggressive opponents, I would advise checking an insanely high frequency in the small blind as as an easy strategy. If you're against these guys who float a shit ton and then oversee it when you check, I'd be quick to deviate instead of just continuing turning your brain off and range betting into them. Gonna be calling here with the jack 9 of hearts. Now we have a hand here. Opponent's going to be checking a good amount on this board. If he bets big, we'll go for 1/3 here. And if he raises, we're going to jam. Gonna check back turn now. So unfortunate. I think this hand almost opens pure, so I'm gonna open it pure. He checks again. This is too thin, I think. He's gonna have better Jack X, exactly. Here this hand raises, sometimes calls, sometimes we'll call. On a 76 we could have considered raising. Obviously great flop. So pretty glad we did it. I'm gonna check here. You could do either. I think mainly I'm gonna call. And this spot's close. The issue is I think like we're just a little too weak. Also, I don't know. I think on a 14, I think I could see this hand calling, but in reality, I think people are not reopening as wide as they probably should be. He checks back here. I think here I'm gonna go for a check jam. I think he's gonna have some Jack X. I don't mind open jamming myself. We're gonna river a lot of Jack X's played. I'm gonna go for a check jam here, but I don't know if he really. Oof, this one's tough. I'm gonna go for the jam myself. Fair river. It's an unfortunate 1K pot. Alright, on to the first hand in the video. Ace-9 here, having most of the time. You do put it in your 4-bet folding range. Just have enough of these suited Ace-X combos here, and just have enough 9X in general. You should use Ace-9. These hands I think all get in the 4-bet range from the small blind. Yeah. And I would say a population exploit. If you know your opponent's 3-betting enough, usually people are under 4-betting because they're not jamming. Ace-5 and Ace-4 suited enough usually. And I think you have to have some jams with King-Jack. I could be thinking of the wrong spot though. Oh, I just ruined the whole node. I might, but we can just go through this together. Raising Ace-9 a good amount here on the flop, about half the time. And I think you're going to be raising even more often, I imagine. If you look, his hand is actually never supposed to bet flop. Neither is Jack-10 of spades. And yeah, I think it's mainly you don't want to get too streeted when you have a hand like this. So you can see why these hands don't mind betting, because I think these hands are comfortable calling off versus a turn raise and a jam. I'd say in practice people are under raising this board. So it's probably okay to bet. In theory, I think it's also an unintuitive check to find. Turn was like a 3 of diamonds, I believe. Gonna have to redo the node here. But yeah, if you're curious about I'm sure I'll have something here. But if you're curious about the program I'm using, link in the description for 10% off your first purchase. I recommend making an account just to use preflop for a lot of you newer players. And if you ever start moving up the stakes and you realize, oh, like I actually want to try this out, just the fact that you made the account with the link in the description will save you 10% off. And I think I know I get a commission for that, which is obviously jokes. So here when it goes check, he finds the check back here. And we go to a river. I believe this is a river. It's a heart or a club. I'm not gonna remember. I just know it's an offsuit. And here my hand's pure jamming here with the Ace-9. I think it's mainly due to the fact that if you were to pick another size, let's for fun play another size. First of all, your opponent never actually has a 9, so it's kind of weird to do. A lot of. Your opponent just, what is the equity, I'm curious, with a hand like Ace-9 here? Like in theory, 94%, so that's how strong my hand's supposed to be here. I'm supposed to probably only be losing to pocket jacks, which he doesn't have too often, and to Queen 10, which he has a little off often. I'm going to end the review right here, and, or not here. I'm going to run some things after I tweak it a little bit. Alright, welcome back. The main tweak I wanted to test was for range betting, so obviously I think my opponent's probably playing a range bet strategy on this board, which is probably what you guys were curious about. As you can see here, raising ace-9 actually almost pure on the flop. The key raise, the bluffs of mine are these low suited ace-x with the double blockers. The main advantage of having an ace is it's kind of a mini draw, as it's going to be the only hand with an over to the king. Not to mention you actually block some of your opponent's strongest king-x. Here, and they're range betting a shit ton. When you have these, ace-8 becomes probably the most appealing give up to not do, mainly because you're blocking so much of the folding range. If you were to look, I don't want to ruin the whole node, but we'll go back to his range betting. If you're looking, you can assume here you see all of this, not the king portion, but if we just went on the 8x line, here you can see like just how many folds there are with the 8. You got jack 8 off, 10 8 off, stuff like this, folding with the 8, which is going to be more common than any of these other cards. Anyway, by the time we get to the river, which is the only other spot I'm curious about, because opponent is going to be, as you can see here, checking back queen 10 at a high frequency. You don't want to get jammed on here. So, by the time we get to the river, besides the fact, if you ignore the fact that I am supposed to be raising at a high frequency, it still likes the jam, even though it has about this time. It still puts it at an insane amount of equity. When you jam, let's see what our opponent in theory is supposed to be calling with, just so we can see if it's realistic. Maybe I prefer another size. Obviously jacks and queen 10, we know these hands are calling, and king 9. Opponent's supposed to be mixing with some king x, which makes sense. Let's go to normalized height now just to see. King 6, king 5. Sorry if I'm talking quiet, it is really late. It's about 2 in the morning when I'm filming this for you guys. Here I'm just trying to get these videos out before I go to my other place, just so I can schedule a couple. So yeah, appreciate it. I never asked for subscribers or anything, but I would appreciate it. I'm trying to put some more effort into this channel, and it's nice to know, or even just a comment. Like I appreciate all the supportive stuff you guys say. But yeah, bluff catching obviously like queen jack and stuff. Yeah, in general though, I think I like the shove. Just happened to get got here. Anyway, back onto the video. I don't know, I didn't think enough about the spot, and once I started tanking, I just decided to go for the jam. I just think he's pretty capped when he plays like this. I mean, he does river a lot of jack x. Gonna go for the half pot here. We flop a great flop. Versus the fish, kinda. This guy just runs too good versus me. And here, for some reason, I just feel like calling. Is that crazy? I think I'm gonna call him here. Yeah. Obviously a great flop for pocket kings. Just bet 75 in range in the spot. And here, this is just a good board for ace king. He never really has ace king, so you're going to play pretty aggressive. The reason I call here is this is just a better call than queens and jacks, because you unblock all his bluffs. And I feel like when he picks this size, he's really polarized to a king or nothing. And he's going to have a good amount of bluffs because we kind of cap ourselves when we check back. So I kind of like the idea of just bluff. We're never going to really have a good calling hand that doesn't block value. I mean, that blocks value in a sense of like, I'd rather just unblock all the bluffs, I think, than have like block king queen suited here, you know? Because if I have two queens here, I don't really know what he's bluffing with. Maybe like 7-6. Yeah, maybe calling too much, but I had a feeling the spot could be a little overbluffed, so I decided to call. I think his hand's fine as well. Nope, it's on a 41. Let's see if we can get more people, more tables going. So I can make some of this money back that I got sewered in. Don't know about the river size here. I think I'm larping a 9 or a bluff. The thing is, I do expect this spot to be overfolded by like king x. I'm trying to think what we would turn into a bluff here, and it's like pretty easy to find some. Probably like some, obviously like spades. Probably just low spades. Pretty easy to find, I mean, yeah. Also, I didn't realize it was this close to timing out. That's so unfortunate. Now we have to wait an entire orbit and we folded a hand versus a fish. Here, you're going to have to build a decent amount of checkbacks because he's going to have actually more flush draws than you, I think. Or flushes than you. I'm gonna check this one back for that reason. You're gonna, yeah. You can probably see bet it a lot, but I think it's like tougher to play against when you're checking. If this guy just has the queen of diamonds here, then I'm just getting sewered. On this number, I'm just gonna call. I'm just gonna overbet here because there's a chance he did it with like 9. I'll just go with this size actually. It's really hard to have bluffs here. Like we just called an overbet, but you never know. People kind of play poor. I mean, I don't know what I would have as a bluff to be honest. It's one of those spots that's like, oh, he's exploiting you, but is he really? I mean, he overbet the turn. It's like some of the EV of playing your lines a little more untraditionally. I'm not just focusing on having equity and betting. Just gonna fold here. Could consider raising. I don't mind the raise consideration. The jack can't be too bad at this point. It's mainly the 3 that's good. Kind of unblocks bluffs in a way. And here you're kind of just pulling. I mean, he's going to have ace jack of diamonds, right, with the jack of spades. He's going to have queen jack off with the... You know what I'm saying? So it does make some sense. I'm just going to fold here. You could consider a flatting strategy on this number. I just choose not to play it. If I did flat, I prefer playing a hand that's not a pocket pair. Just due to the fact that everyone kind of assumes you have a pocket pair. It just drastically lowers your EV. That's just a population read, and it's like pretty correct in general. So, I mean, if everyone assumes I'm going to have 3s, 5s, and 4s, it's tough to get not coolered on a 3, 5, and 4. I mean, yeah, I prefer to flat a hand like king, queen offsuit here, and on a low board, everyone thinks you have the nuts, and on a high board, people think you're capped, and it works out pretty well. You can turn your hand into a bluff on a higher board. Damn, I can't believe this guy checked queen 10 suited on the turn here. I mean, it's definitely a check out of frequency for sure. We're gonna jam turn 2, so it just sucks. That's the disadvantage to not fast playing our hand. I think here when you have ace 9 off, I mean ace 9 suited, it just really sucks. Going to call because it's a recreational. Burst the half pot here, just gonna let it go. Even though we have a diamond draw, it's just such a bad one. Man. This one we're gonna review, obviously. You probably already have. I don't like my river sizing. I will say, this guy's a clown. The reason I went for it is because I took so long, and I think if you take that long, I think I gave away a bit of a tell when I was thinking. In the sense of, if I think for that long and decide to jam, it can look a little more bluffy, whereas if I think that long and check jam, I just really don't expect it to work. It looks like there's no hand you would be thinking that long and check jamming, I think. Or at least maybe there is, it would be a good exploit. I don't expect him to think that I'm taking that long to have a check jam bluff. Like, am I thinking this long with jack 10? You would think about it after you checked, right? So it's a good way to... Let's do an emoji. Gotta get your emoji game on point. It's one of the keys to a high win rate. This guy owned me. But owned me at river to straight. I'm just gonna call on this number. I will say, for what it's worth, I don't really expect my opponent to be checking back too much king x, so I don't really like the jam. I just went for it as like some leveling bullshit. But would I get stacked 100 times in a row in this hand? Yeah. When he snap called, I thought he had jacks, not king queen. I mean, not queen 10. Kind of expected him to bet turn a lot with that hand, but it makes sense. You don't want to get shoved on, but it's a good board for you. First, this size here. I don't think we're folding this. Could raise. I like the idea of raise here. You might be betting some like king 4 of diamonds. I mean, I guess it's worth keeping it in then, eh? I don't know. I'll review. Put this in the video. I gotta stop asking myself to do it because then I give myself too much work and I have to edit 3 of these, but to post every day. But I'll put it in the video if you preferred the king of spades or not to raise, because I have no clue. I do think on this turn size though, people don't reopen enough with bluffs or hands that are not too strong. Might have gave a Whitell by tanking a while pre and calling. I was never fully thinking about raising, obviously, but maybe that was his read. It's always like, when I talk about the tells and stuff, there's some times where I feel like I give off really good timing tells in the sense of I'm thinking about a way to level my opponent. Because like, poker is at the end of the day a lot about leveling, right? I mean, there's very few people in the world that like choose to ignore absolutely everything and just focus just on the strategy. Obviously gonna open 10s here. Let me know what you guys would like to see. I'm thinking of putting a face cam in my videos or something. I'm just worried like I'm too good looking, it might like distract from the gameplay. Alright, here if we hit... How does it work? If I hit quads and he has an ace, is that BBJ? I don't know. Unfortunate. Wouldn't have mattered. Or maybe you could have like the queen of spades. Can do either here. 9 of clubs. Gonna check it. Don't like it. Prefer B75, but I just was focused on this table. Gonna check it again now. Even though we have like good blocker properties. Actually, I'm gonna bet. I changed my mind. I like the 9 of clubs here. The thing is, I don't know what we're betting to get to fold, so it's probably a pure check. I'm just going off like an exploit. I felt like I had an exploit, but yeah, this is a terrible bluff. I'm just going off a read. I know this guy too well. So I probably should have, for the sake of the video, don't bet this hand on the turn here. Just I play in a localized pool, so I know a lot of these players pretty well, but for the video I probably shouldn't. I felt like I had a bit of a tell here that when he didn't bet turn, he was pretty capped. What if Hero called me? Maybe. This guy's tanking, he checks. I'm debating, do I bet again, because I feel like he's weak. But the thing I'm debating is I don't think my hand's a good hand to bet again, so I guess I'll go with the check and be responsible. Even though I do think the fish is weaker in this spot. And versus the 3 big blind size here, I'm just gonna go for the huge raise. And we get snapped. This guy just outplayed me. I think on the flush board, sometimes they will actually do this with like a stronger hand. But usually it's like a 9 or something that they're just not planning on calling you with. So I think yeah. Or he's seen the YouTube videos. Easy fold here. What did he float me with on the flop here? A straight jaw, right? Jack 8, yeah. I'm just gonna flat here because this guy's gonna be floating a lot of pairs that are worse than a 9. Here can do either. I think people oversee bet the spot, so I'm gonna raise it at a good frequency. This on an 11 probably isn't really a raise, but it's key not to focus on only raising the nut flush draw. If you think your opponent's overdoing it, you can get involved with some other flush draws too. Just gonna size up here and play aggressive. I mean, he has some 10-8 and bullshit, right? But perfect. I think we just go all in, right? Is the fish gonna hold trips? Okay, phew. I thought Jack 8 was a boat for a sec. You're always nervous when they snap call the trips here. It's like, but pretty obvious that a fish isn't gonna fold chips there. And we bingo another set. I think I'm actually forgetting. I'll put in the. I gotta stop doing this. I'll put in the video though. If I ever forget one of these, just forgive me, because I have to go back, rewatch the video, edit it, review all the hands, and sometimes I skim through it and I'll just forget. But I'll put in the video what the flop size is here. I'm blanking a bit. I'm gonna go with the half pot though. For what it's worth, I think I prefer 1/3 sometimes because I think it levels people into thinking you're range betting. Like, for example here, I play a half pot or check strategy, but if you play a 1/3 or check strategy, it's going to level your opponents more into thinking, oh, he's range betting, he's just autopilot, clicking button, you know, and they might spew out more. Versus you. I think in this spot, you're just supposed to fast play your set. If they have a straight, you have a good draw. I think that's the logic here. Jesus Christ. Definitely just calling here. This sucks. Doesn't make any sense because my 3-bang range looks like 9-8. So like when he's doing this here, I don't think he realizes, like, I think I have more straights than he does. Like, he's the one who looks like he has 2 pair, right? Doesn't make any sense to me to lead on this card, right? Because like you would expect, like, he's gonna 4-bet shove some straights. I'm gonna be 3-betting a lot of my straights I mean, he has more straights in general, but my 3-betting range, like to think that like most people will not raise a set here. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Well, maybe we'll run the hand, or I'll just like show a brief review of what his turn landing looks like. We'll see if I'm up for it or not. We already got one hand for review now, and reviewing a hand just to explain why my opponent's. I think he might not be playing well. I don't know. I'm just thinking in actuality, like what population does here. Like when you guys get raised here and you have 7s, are you like fist pumping? Or you have 10-7, are you fist pumping? Doesn't make any sense. You must have just had like ace-9 of hearts. Or a bluff. I could believe a bluff, because I don't know if you have a 9. I mean, if you have a 9, you're going to think your opponent's less likely to have 9-8. But that's because you have a 9. Gonna fold here versus 3-bet. Just frustrating to have the nuts here. And the run out being so shit. Maybe he just had 9-8 and decided to flat, which I honestly don't like. I mean, you have to mix it. But I just like shoving. Because my 3-bet range is going to be calling off. Like, how many 3-bet folds do I have? And if so, like, you're not getting too much money from them. This guy's PFR is crazy. I'm just going to get after him. It's just going to make too much money to isolate him. And this hand's, like, doing well versus this range. Why would it not do well versus this range? The only reason I could say to not do this would be if he's 4-betting you a lot. Or if the people in the blinds are also spazzes. But I think I'm going to take that spot 100 times in a row. And same logic here. Just going to take this. Because he's basically... The thing about fishes is they open up the same percentage usually from almost all positions on the table. So the fact that he's UTG just changes the fact that there's 3 people behind me. Which I don't expect them to be going as crazy. If you know you're against certain people... I mean, my hand's good. It's not like a trash hand. This guy might think I have it out for him though, which kind of sucks. I think I like the half pot here, because fish I think will overfold versus half pot. I don't even know if that's true. Just in my mind it seems more like he's gonna click a button on me less. Here, I don't even know. I feel like we just have to bluff this. I don't know. I hate it. I actually hate it. But okay, he just calls. I'm gonna check. I hate it. I could just barrel through, but this guy just seems so whaley. Like, he's gonna have a lot of floats here, and he's gonna river a lot of 9x. I'm just gonna give this one up because I think my line, like a lot of times, people will think you. I'm tempted to jam. The issue is I just did it earlier versus this guy, but I think it makes money. I'm gonna go for it. The reason, sticking with the logic that the 1/3 is just really overfolded. And I emoji because it just looks so nutted. Here, just gonna call. Could consider like playing some 3-bets, but this guy's pretty tough to play against. And yeah, you're going with the 1/3 ranger. Here, there's enough bluffs, justifiably, that aren't a flush. Oh my god, I folded this. I was so focused. Like 5-4, 4 deuce, 7, like not 7-8. That aren't a flush to justify, like, we have to continue this one more time, but we're overfolding probably. It is close though, because it's like he basically doesn't have bluffs now. I think I'm gonna call again here. It is close, but the logic being that he has some 2 pairs that he's playing this way. And we're gonna be overfolding if we fold this to this size. I expected him to have the flush, but obviously we're getting a great price. And here, blocking 2 pair and having a flush, blocking the river 6x. I'm gonna hope my opponent has a hand like Queen 10, goes for the value bet, or Ace Queen even. It was scared of the flush, and we can go with the jam. This is okay, block jam as well if you wanted to play it this way. On a 16, just gonna fold him. The issue here is my kicker like actually plays. If he pots and I'm folding. Do people really bluff this? I'm not gonna go for the jam. I'm gonna go to like 40 bigs here. And I'm gonna see what's up, even though I think I'm not good. Yeah. Alright, here. Wait, what's going on, man? This table sucks, so let's just leave this. Oh shit. If he reshows, I'm calling. Good luck, guys. Yeah, you see, like, the reason I did this is because it looks like a spot like, oh, it's so easy to have so many bluffs. If he just takes any a6 of spade with a pair, he could go for a check jam. And those are exactly the spots that you probably don't need a bluff. For certain players, you reverse level them though, and yeah, it works, etc. I don't mind flatting here. It's a flat in theory, and if he... Oh no, we're too deep. I was gonna say I can trap him and jam over the top, but it just doesn't perform that well because we're obviously too deep. I guess I'll call him when goat footer calls here. Here we have decent blockers. Gonna go for the half pot. We block king queen suited, and we block ace queen offsuit, and a lot of recreationals will still defend the ace queen offsuit. Obviously, you wish you blocked ace queen suited though. In theory, you're not supposed to have ace queen offsuit here. Does this ever get through? Probably not worth it. As the small blind flat here, I'm probably the least believable guy here to bluff. So I'm probably the only guy who doesn't even really need bluffs. How long have I been recording for? Damn, 34 minutes. Alright, gonna be wrapping up the video here and continuing the second recording probably right now.